Another person has been killed in Myanmar as security forces crack down on protesters. This comes as the UN Security Council is scheduled to convene to discuss the crisis today. The recent violence has brought global condemnation, with the United States blacklisting more military-linked entities.
It's another day for the protesters, running and dodging security forces. Police are intensifying their crackdown, using tear gas and stun grenades to break up demonstrations. In Yangon, protesters were seen rushing to put out smoke from gas canisters, using fire extinguishers and bags of water. Spots of fires burned on the ground in some areas. In Mandalay, a big crowd marched peacefully across the city. But soon after, police opened fire on protesters, killing at least one person. Gunshots were also heard in other parts of Myanmar, like in Tawai, where unarmed protesters lined the streets, chanting slogans. Amid the unrest, many residents nationwide reported an electricity outage. Officials say it's due to a systems failure and promise to restore power. As violence escalates, the US has unveiled new measures against the military leaders. Washington has blacklisted several Myanmar entities, including the Defense and Home Affairs ministries and top military conglomerates. YouTube has also removed 5 channels of military-run television networks on its platform, including the state media.
Young Waikit joins us live now for more on this story. Waikit, the army is pushing out its own narrative on the protests.
That's right, Dawn. The army is using the state paper, the state media, to tell its side of the story. Let's bring up some pictures for you on your full screen. This is taken from the Global New Light of Myanmar, the state paper, on Friday's edition. You will see them just in a while. They are using photos in their favor. You will see photos of soldiers helping an injured civilian. You will also see photos at the bottom of your screen of protesters clad in black with shields and helmets. I've also seen in previous editions of the paper buildings that the state media say have been vandalized by protesters. Here we also see photos of barricades that protesters use to put on the streets using public property. Now that's just on the photos front. On text, in words, the Myanmar army is describing the protesters as rioters, as being very violent, and also bombers who use explosive devices. They also describe these protesters as having captured and tortured security forces, attacking monks, looting ATMs. This is, of course, one side of the story. I must also point out that the UN Special Envoy for Myanmar, Christine Burgener, had said in recent days, in recent interview, saying that she feels and she believes that the Myanmar army is just waiting for protesters to arm themselves to defend themselves. And she has urged protesters to, and I quote, not fall into that trap.
Waikit, meantime, the UN Security Council, they're going to meet later to discuss what's happening in Myanmar. It's the second time that they'll be meeting since the coup. What can we expect from that?
That's right, Dawn. The first time they met was shortly after the coup. What came out of that was that there was a statement asking Myanmar to release leaders, including Aung San Suu Kyi, but they did not use the words coup. Now, this time round, all eyes will be on China to see whether it still provides that traditional protection for Myanmar at such council meetings. But remember, between then and now, a few things have transpired. One, the crackdowns are deadly. People have died. And two, China, in the meantime, has been drawn into this political turmoil. It has to come out on various occasions to tell people that no, we did not know the coup was coming. We did not advise Army Chief Min Aung Hlaing on the coup. And also it had to deny rumors that China had provided IT experts to Myanmar to roll out internet blockades. And also most recently, China's Foreign Affairs Minister Wang Yi told his counterpart Retno Marsudi that China is ready to help ASEAN de-escalate the situation in Myanmar. Now, the other thing that I'm keeping a very close watch on would be the level of violence after the meeting. In the last few weeks, the deadliest violence often comes a day after large-scale meetings. For instance, the first time was during the after the trilateral talks between Myanmar, Indonesia and Thailand. And then shortly after that was the ASEAN ministers' informal meeting on Myanmar. Of course, these are just my observations in the last 2 weeks, but there will be no doubt that a lot of attention will be on the continuing violence and the protests in Myanmar.
Waikit, thank you for staying on top of this story for us. Long Waikit there.